In the midst of World War II, the global conflict that reshaped nations and ideologies, the United States played a complex role not only on the battlefront but also at home. As the war raged across continents, thousands of German prisoners of war found themselves behind barbed wire on American soil. This narrative delves into a unique intersection of military logistics, civilian life, and humanitarian efforts that unfolded in Minnesota in 1944. Here, at a Lutheran church, German POWs encountered an unexpected facet of American life, a community-driven food support system for strangers. Located in Algona, Iowa, Camp Algona served as one of the principal POW camps in the Midwest, with a capacity to house over 3,000 prisoners. By 1944, branch camps had been established throughout the region, including Minnesota, to meet labor demands. These satellite camps were often smaller and less fortified, reflecting their temporary nature and the low risk of escape. Guard units, typically comprised of older soldiers or those with medical limitations, maintained order within these camps. The camp layout consisted of barracks, administrative buildings, recreational areas, and perimeter fencing, all designed to balance security with the Geneva Convention's requirements. The War Department's circulars and the U.S. Army Provost Marshal General's records detail the integration of POW labor into the American economy. German prisoners were employed in various sectors, including agriculture, canneries, and lumber yards, as well as railroads, grocery stores, and factories. This labor was critical due to the wartime manpower shortage. Agricultural labor contracts, often brokered by local county administrators, dictated the terms of employment, wages, and working conditions. POWs received nominal wages credited to their accounts, which could be used for canteen purchases or saved for post-war repatriation. The United States wartime economy was characterized by rationing policies and food systems designed to support both civilian and military needs. POWs were provided with food rations in accordance with the Geneva Conventions, ensuring they received a diet comparable to that of American soldiers. However, these rations were often supplemented by produce from the work they performed, particularly in agricultural settings. The transportation logs illustrate the movement of these food supplies overseen by the Army Service Forces, ensuring that both POWs and the civilian population were adequately provisioned. Civilian attitudes towards German POWs varied widely, influenced by personal experiences and wartime propaganda. While some community members viewed the prisoners with suspicion or animosity, others saw them as a valuable labor source or even potential friends. Recorded incidents from camp newspapers and local archives reveal instances of both hostility and cooperation. Notably, interactions between POWs and civilians were often carefully monitored by camp officials to prevent breaches of security and maintain public order. In the small towns of Minnesota, Lutheran churches played a pivotal role in supporting the local population amidst the challenges of rationing and economic strain. These churches organized food banks, distributing donated food to families in need. The system was structured and methodical. Volunteers sorted fruit, canned goods, cornmeal, and coffee into labeled boxes, ready for distribution. Weekly donation quotas and distribution lists were prominently displayed on bulletin boards, illustrating the community's commitment to supporting its members. In 1944, a group of German POWs was assigned to unload donated food crates at a Lutheran church in Minnesota. Anticipating a scene of dire need, reminiscent of the rationed soup lines in war-torn Europe, the prisoners instead observed a well-organized operation. Volunteers of all ages and backgrounds, retirees, teenagers, farmers, worked together efficiently, demonstrating a structured civic system where spiritual institutions supported material well-being. The pastor of the church, a key figure in this operation, worked closely with county administrators to ensure accountability and transparency. He signed receipts for the donated goods, maintaining meticulous records to meet federal and local requirements. This interaction between church and state exemplified a collaborative effort to sustain the community during challenging times. The administration of discipline within the POW camps adhered strictly to military regulations, ensuring order and compliance among the prisoners. Medical access was provided in accordance with international standards, with Red Cross inspections regularly evaluating conditions. Mail services allowed prisoners to maintain contact with family members, while educational programs, often facilitated by the YMCA, offered opportunities for learning and personal development. These programs aimed to occupy the prisoners' time constructively and prepare them for eventual repatriation. In the broader context of World War II, the experiences of German POWs in the United States provide a nuanced perspective on the intersection of military necessity, humanitarian efforts, and community resilience. The events in Minnesota in 1944 underscore the role of spiritual institutions in supporting material well-being, offering a glimpse into the structured civic systems that emerged in response to the challenges of war. As the prisoners witnessed the American Church's food bank operation, they encountered not a display of ideology or propaganda, but a pragmatic and compassionate approach to community welfare. The German POWs, having been dispatched to the Lutheran Church's basement in Minnesota, found themselves in an environment that diverged significantly from their expectations. Used to the regimented life of camp and the often austere reception outside its confines, they were unprepared for the scene of community cooperation that unfolded before them. The basement was bustling with activity. Volunteers moved with practiced efficiency, sorting and organizing the donated goods. The warmth and camaraderie in the air were palpable, a stark contrast to the cold militaristic atmosphere they were accustomed to. This operation was part of a broader network of food banks that had emerged across the United States during World War II, driven by the need to supplement the government's rationing system. Rationing policies, implemented to ensure fair distribution of scarce resources, limited the availability of certain goods such as sugar, meat, and canned goods. Despite these restrictions, local communities, often spearheaded by churches and civic organizations, took it upon themselves to provide additional support to those in need. The Lutheran Church's food bank was one such initiative, reflecting a blend of civic duty and spiritual mission. It was a testament to the resilience and compassion of the American people, who sought to alleviate the burdens of war on their fellow citizens. The church's pastor, a key figure in the operation, coordinated the efforts with a calm authority. His role extended beyond spiritual guidance. He was a liaison between the church and local government, ensuring that the food bank's activities were aligned with official policies. The pastor signed receipts for the county administrators, a necessary formality that underscored the transparency and accountability of the operation. This level of organization was crucial in maintaining the trust of both the community and the authorities. The pastor's presence was reassuring, his gentle demeanor a reminder of the moral compass guiding their efforts. For the POWs, this experience was a revelation. They had anticipated a more utilitarian approach to food distribution, perhaps akin to the military's ration lines. Instead, they encountered a system that emphasized dignity and care. The absence of overt ideological messaging or propaganda was notable. The church's efforts were not framed as acts of patriotism or religious conversion, but as a straightforward response to human need. This was a new concept for the POWs, who had been exposed to constant propaganda and rigid ideologies. The simplicity and sincerity of the church's mission challenged their preconceived notions and sparked curiosity about the values that drove these Americans. As the POWs continued to assist with the unloading and sorting of supplies, they began to appreciate the complexity of the American home front. The war had imposed numerous challenges, yet it had also fostered a spirit of cooperation and ingenuity. This was evident not only in the food bank but also in other aspects of civilian life, such as war bond drives and scrap metal collections, where individuals rallied to support the national cause. The ingenuity of the American people was impressive. They had found creative solutions to the problems posed by the war, and their determination was inspiring. The interaction between the POWs and the volunteers was cordial, though limited by language barriers and the formalities imposed by their status. Nonetheless, moments of mutual understanding emerged, often through simple gestures or shared tasks. A smile exchanged over a heavy box, a nod of appreciation for a job well done. These small interactions transcended language and cultural barriers, fostering a sense of shared humanity. These interactions, while brief, contributed to a gradual dismantling of preconceived notions on both sides. For the POWs, who had been indoctrinated with images of the enemy, these experiences challenged their assumptions about American society and its values. The presence of German POWs in the Midwest was a pragmatic response to labor shortages, yet it also created opportunities for unexpected cultural exchanges. The work at the food bank was one such instance, providing the POWs with a glimpse into the everyday lives of American civilians. They saw the struggles and triumphs of ordinary people, the resilience and determination that defined the American spirit. This exposure, albeit limited, played a role in shaping their perspectives on the war and its broader implications. In the months that followed, the POWs continued to be involved in various community projects, including agricultural work and infrastructure maintenance. Each assignment offered new insights into the American way of life and the resilience of its people. The experiences at the Lutheran Church were particularly impactful, illustrating how spiritual institutions could transcend their religious functions to address material and social needs. The church was a beacon of hope and compassion, its influence extending far beyond its walls. The post-war period would see many of these POWs return to a transformed Germany, carrying with them memories of their time in the United States. The interactions they had experienced, though brief and often constrained, left lasting impressions. For some, the humanitarian efforts they witnessed would influence their views on reconciliation and reconstruction. They had seen firsthand the power of community and the impact of simple acts of kindness, and these lessons would shape their approach to the challenges of rebuilding their homeland. Others would reflect on the contrasts between the propaganda they had been fed and the realities they observed. The experiences they had in America would serve as a reminder of the complexities of human nature and the potential for understanding and empathy even in the midst of conflict. The broader significance of these encounters lay in their contribution to a more nuanced understanding of the enemy. While the war raged on, these small acts of humanity offered glimpses of a shared future, one where former adversaries might find common ground. The role of institutions like the Lutheran Church in facilitating these exchanges underscored the potential for spiritual and civic organizations to bridge divides, even in times of conflict. They had played a crucial role in fostering understanding and empathy, laying the groundwork for reconciliation and peace. As the war drew to a close, the lessons learned from these interactions would resonate beyond the confines of the POW camps. They served as reminders of the capacity for empathy and understanding, even amidst the adversities of war. The German POWs' discovery of American churches running food banks for strangers was a testament to the power of community-driven efforts and the enduring impact of simple acts of kindness. These experiences had opened their eyes to new possibilities and had sown the seeds of hope for a better future, one where differences could be set aside in favor of compassion and cooperation. The initial involvement of German POWs with the Lutheran Church's food bank in Minnesota was born out of necessity, a pragmatic response to the labor demands of a nation at war. Tasked with the seemingly straightforward job of unloading and organizing crates of donated food supplies, these men found themselves thrust into a world that was both foreign and enlightening. Their work at the food bank offered them a unique window into American civilian life during World War II, a perspective starkly different from the rationing and shortages they had known in Germany. The church's basement, a bustling hub of activity, became the epicenter of this unexpected cultural exchange. It was a place where individuals from all walks of life converged, united by a common goal of alleviating the burdens of war through mutual aid. The volunteers represented a cross-section of American society, each bringing their own stories and experiences to the table. Retirees, with their vast reservoirs of knowledge and community spirit, worked alongside teens whose energy and eagerness to help were palpable. Farmers, whose livelihoods were deeply intertwined with the war effort, contributed fresh produce whenever possible, adding a touch of vitality to the otherwise meager supplies. The food bank's operations were orchestrated with a level of efficiency and precision that the German POWs found both impressive and perplexing. Each volunteer had a specific role ensuring the seamless sorting and packaging of goods. Canned items were meticulously arranged into boxes labeled for families with particular needs, while staples like cornmeal and coffee, often scarce, were distributed equitably, ensuring that every family received a fair share. A bulletin board in the church hall served as the nerve center, displaying weekly donation quotas and the distribution plan, a testament to the organizational prowess that underpinned this communal effort. Central to this operation was the pastor, a man whose dedication to his community was unwavering. His role extended beyond that of spiritual leader. He was a linchpin, bridging the gap between the church and local authorities. His interactions with county administrators were characterized by transparency and accountability, evidenced by the signed receipts that documented every transaction. For the German POWs, this level of organization was a revelation, contrasting sharply with the hierarchical structures they had known. As weeks turned into months, the POWs' involvement with the food bank became a fixture in their routine. This consistency afforded them the opportunity to witness firsthand the profound impact of the church's efforts on the local community. On designated days, families would gather at the church, waiting with quiet anticipation to receive their parcels. Despite the hardships imposed by the war, there was a palpable sense of gratitude and relief among the recipients, a testament to the church's role in mitigating the effects of rationing. The interactions between the POWs and American volunteers, initially hindered by language barriers and wartime regulations, gradually evolved into a relationship marked by mutual respect. The initial apprehension that tinged their encounters began to dissipate, replaced by a growing recognition of shared humanity. The POWs, often viewed with suspicion as enemy soldiers, found themselves in an environment where their contributions were valued and where ideological differences were set aside in favor of a common purpose. This exposure to American life left an indelible mark on the German POWs. The food bank exemplified community resilience and cooperation, qualities that resonated deeply with them. The experience challenged the preconceptions they had harbored, shaped by years of propaganda about a society they had been taught to view with hostility. They began to see the potential for reconciliation and rebuilding, concepts that would later influence their perspectives upon returning to a post-war Germany. As the war drew to a close, The legacy of these interactions lingered in the minds of the POWs. The lessons they gleaned from their experiences in Minnesota served as a microcosm of the larger global shift towards rebuilding and reconciliation. The food bank, a seemingly simple operation, exemplified the potential for collective action to effect meaningful change, even amidst the backdrop of war. Returning to Germany, the former POWs carried with them a renewed perspective, shaped by their time at the food bank. They had gained invaluable insights into the power of community and the capacity for individuals to come together in support of one another, regardless of nationality or circumstance. This understanding would influence their roles in the reconstruction of their homeland, as they embraced the principles of empathy, cooperation, and resilience that they had observed and participated in during their time in the United States. In conclusion, the story of the German POWs and the Lutheran Church's food bank in Minnesota is a testament to the enduring impact of humanitarian efforts during wartime. It illustrates the potential for spiritual and civic organizations to transcend ideological divides and foster a spirit of cooperation and empathy. The experiences of the POWs, shaped by their interactions with American civilians, highlight the complexities of wartime life and the capacity for individuals to effect positive change in even the most challenging of circumstances. This narrative serves as a reminder of the enduring power of community and the potential for reconciliation and peace in a world that continues to grapple with the legacies of conflict. The food bank, through its simple yet profound mission, became a beacon of hope and understanding, illuminating the path towards a more compassionate and unified world. In the aftermath of their work at the Lutheran Church's food bank, the German prisoners of war, POWs, returned to their camp with a newfound understanding of the complexities within American society. Their experiences had opened a window into the intricacies of civilian life in the United States, revealing the depth and breadth of compassion that persisted even amidst the adversities of war. The structured systems of the food bank, operating within the broader context of wartime America, stood out starkly against the often impersonal mechanisms of rationing and resource allocation they had known in Germany. This experience provided an unusual but enlightening contrast to the realities they were familiar with back home, where the war's demands had often overshadowed individual and communal efforts. The POWs, many of whom had been drafted from diverse backgrounds, ranging from farmers to factory workers, found the operations of the food bank reminiscent of pre-war community efforts back in Germany, albeit under vastly different circumstances. The manner in which the church volunteers, individuals spanning different ages and walks of life, united to support those in need, was particularly striking. It underscored a community resilience that was both familiar and foreign, shaped by the unique socio-political landscape of wartime America. This communal spirit mirrored the kind of neighborhood solidarity they had once known, yet it was imbued with an American flavor, marked by a sense of optimism and determination that seemed to transcend the grim realities of the global conflict. As the POWs settled back into their routine at the camp, discussions about their day at the church became a frequent topic of interest among the prisoners. The Geneva Conventions ensured they were treated with a degree of humanity, yet the POWs were acutely aware of their status as foreigners and former adversaries. Despite this, the absence of hostility and the genuine warmth they encountered at the church challenged their preconceived notions. The pastor and volunteers had not only refrained from engaging in any overt ideological discourse, but had instead demonstrated a pragmatic approach to addressing immediate human needs. This focus on common humanity, rather than political or ideological differences, left a deep impression on the POWs. The impact of these interactions was not lost on the American guards and camp administrators, who noted a subtle shift in the demeanor of the POWs. The guards, often tasked with maintaining order and discipline, observed an increase in camaraderie and cooperation among the prisoners. This was perhaps a reflection of the broader shift in understanding as the POWs began to view their American counterparts not merely as captors, but as participants in a shared human experience shaped by the demands of war. The experience at the church seemed to have softened the edges of their captivity, offering a glimpse into a different kind of existence where adversaries could find common ground. Meanwhile, the church's initiative continued to draw attention from local and state authorities who recognized the potential of such programs to bolster community morale and provide essential support to those affected by wartime shortages. The pastor, mindful of the potential implications of his work, maintained meticulous records of donations and distributions, ensuring transparency and accountability. This approach not only secured the trust of the county administrators, but also fostered a sense of ownership among the volunteers, who saw their efforts as integral to the community's welfare. The church had effectively become a beacon of hope, illustrating the power of community-driven solutions in times of crisis. The broader implications of these interactions extended beyond the immediate context of the food bank. For the POWs, engaging with the American public in such a capacity offered a unique perspective on the societal values underpinning the U.S. war effort. This was a society that, despite its involvement in a global conflict, prioritized the welfare of its citizens through grassroots initiatives. The food bank, while ostensibly a local affair, served as a microcosm of the larger societal emphasis on community support and resilience. It was a testament to the American spirit of volunteerism and collective action, principles that resonated deeply with the POWs, reminding them of their own communities before the war had torn them apart. Yet these experiences did not erase the realities of war or the circumstances that had brought the POWs to American soil. The camp, with its barbed wire fences and regimented schedules, remained a constant reminder of their status as prisoners. However, the engagement with the church food bank operation provided a rare opportunity to transcend these boundaries, if only temporarily, and participate in a humanitarian effort that echoed their own pre-war experiences. It was a chance to reconnect with the more humane aspects of life, a brief respite from the harshness of captivity. For the American volunteers, the presence of the POWs at the church was a testament to the potential for reconciliation, even amidst ongoing conflict. The decision to involve the POWs in the food bank operations was not without its critics. Some community members expressed concerns about security and the appropriateness of such interactions. However, the pastor and church leaders remained steadfast in their belief that acts of goodwill and cooperation could pave the way for understanding and healing. Their commitment to compassion over fear demonstrated a profound belief in the power of empathy to bridge even the deepest divides. As the war continued, the food bank's operations became increasingly vital, with more families relying on its support due to rationing and economic strains. The church, with its network of volunteers and efficient systems, became a hub of community activity, fostering a spirit of mutual aid that resonated with the broader American wartime ethos. The efforts of the volunteers, alongside the involvement of the POWs, highlighted the capacity for collective action to address communal needs, reinforcing the idea that communities could withstand even the most challenging circumstances through unity and determination. The German POWs, having experienced this firsthand, carried these lessons with them as they contemplated the eventual return to their homeland. The food bank had offered them a unique vantage point from which to observe the interplay between individual and collective responsibility, shaped by the exigencies of war but transcending its divisive tendencies. It was a powerful reminder of the enduring strength of compassion and the potential for human connection to flourish, even amidst the harshest conditions. In the years to follow, as the war drew to a close and the process of rebuilding began, the experiences of these POWs at the Minnesota church would serve as a point of reflection. For many, the interactions at the food bank represented a pivotal moment, a reminder of the potential for humanity and empathy to flourish even in the most challenging of circumstances. The lessons learned during their time at the church would become a guiding light, influencing their perspectives on post-war reconstruction and the importance of community resilience. The narrative of the POWs and the Lutheran Church's food bank stands as a testament to the enduring impact of humanitarian efforts during wartime. It highlights the capacity of spiritual and civic institutions to bridge divides and foster a spirit of cooperation and empathy that transcends ideological boundaries. The story of these interactions, though rooted in the specific historical context of World War II, offers timeless insights into the potential for community-driven initiatives to contribute to reconciliation and understanding in a world shaped by conflict. As the war ended and the prisoners were repatriated, the memories of their time at the church remained with them, influencing their perspectives on post-war reconstruction and the importance of community resilience. The church's food bank, a seemingly small operation within the grand scope of the war, had left an indelible mark, illustrating the power of collective action in the face of adversity. Through this unexpected encounter, the German POWs and the American community had forged a connection that transcended the boundaries of nationality and conflict, offering a glimpse of hope and understanding amid the tumult of war. This shared experience would serve as a lasting reminder of the strength found in unity and compassion, even when the world seemed divided by insurmountable barriers. The conclusion of Behind Barbed Wire, German POWs and the American Church's humanitarian role reflects on the long-term impact of the interactions between German prisoners of war and the Lutheran Church community in Minnesota. The experiences of the POWs at the church's food bank became a significant part of their narrative, illustrating the capacity for empathy and cooperation even in the midst of global conflict. As the war came to an end, the German POWs were repatriated to a Germany that had been forever altered by the war's devastation. Carrying with them the memories of their time in the United States, they returned with a broadened perspective on humanity and reconciliation. The interactions at the food bank had challenged their preconceived notions and opened their eyes to the complexities of the American home front. The structured and compassionate response they witnessed at the church stood in contrast to the rigid ideologies that had fueled the conflict. The lessons learned from their time in Minnesota influenced their roles in the reconstruction of post-war Germany. The emphasis on community resilience and collective action they observed at the church informed their approach to rebuilding their homeland. Many of the former POWs became advocates for cooperation and understanding, drawing on their experiences to promote reconciliation and peace in a divided world. For the American community, the involvement of German POWs in the food bank operations demonstrated the potential for bridging divides through simple acts of kindness. The church's initiative reinforced the idea that spiritual and civic organizations could play a pivotal role in fostering understanding and healing, even amidst the adversities of war. The interactions at the church became a testament to the enduring power of community-driven efforts to effect meaningful change. In retrospect, the story of the German POWs and the Lutheran Church's food bank serves as a reminder of the potential for humanity and empathy to transcend the barriers of conflict. It highlights the importance of community resilience and the capacity for individuals to come together in support of one another, regardless of nationality or circumstance. This narrative underscores the enduring impact of humanitarian efforts during wartime and the lessons they offer for a more compassionate and unified world. As the years passed, the memories of these interactions continued to resonate with those involved, illustrating the lasting influence of collective action in the face of adversity. The experiences at the Minnesota Church became a beacon of hope, offering a glimpse into the possibilities for reconciliation and peace in a world shaped by conflict. Through this unexpected encounter, the German POWs and the American community forged a connection that transcended the boundaries of nationality and war, serving as a lasting testament to the strength found in unity and compassion.